Colonel Potter, sir. Corporal Klinger. I'm Section 8, head to toe. I'm wearing a Warner bra. I play with dolls.
Horse hockey. Now you get out of that frou-frou and into a uniform. And you stay in uniform. Dismissed.
Imagine American television without MASH. It's hard to fathom. Premiering in 1972 during the Vietnam War, the show blended humor with the heartbreak of the Korean War, showcasing quirky characters and the human spirit's resilience. It quickly became a fan favorite and evolved to include more profound social commentary and complex character arcs.
She said I had an unhappy love affair. So I said, was it one of my doctors? And she said, no, it was your priest.
Leading to tensions behind the scenes. Several beloved stars eventually left the show, and the reasons for their exits, whether personal, professional, or due to creative conflicts, may surprise you. Let's explore what happened. A war story told with heart. There's a fascinating journey behind this iconic series, so let's rewind and see how MASH came into existence. In 1968, Dr. Richard Hooker, pseudonym for Korean war surgeon H. Richard Hornberger, published MASH, a novel about 3 Army doctors, a humorous and poignant account of his experiences during the war. The book quickly became a bestseller, catching the attention of Hollywood. 2 years later, director Robert Altman adapted it into a film, which featured Donald Sutherland as Hawkeye Pierce and Elliot Gould as Trapper John. The satire struck a chord during the Vietnam War era, winning the Palme d'Or at Cannes and an Academy Award for Best Screenplay. However, the real impact came in 1972, when CBS launched the television version developed by Larry Gelbart and Gene Reynolds. Premiering on September 17th, the show maintained the wartime setting and humor, but leaned into serialized storytelling, with Alan Alda stepping in as Hawkeye and becoming the series' heart. Initially, the show struggled in ratings and faced cancellation threats. However, CBS's strategic move to Saturday nights proved fruitful, boosting viewership and cultural significance. MASH broke new ground, using real war footage and replacing laugh tracks with the sounds of helicopters. As the series evolved over its 11-season run, while Alan Alda championed deeper emotional storytelling, not all actors embraced this direction, resulting in conflicts and changes within the cast. Despite these shifts, MASH remained committed to exploring the cost of war with compassion and a sense of humor. With that context, it's time to highlight one of the series' most shocking exits, an actor whose departure stunned fans and prompted a dramatic character death that left the nation reeling. McLean Stevenson. The final scene of MASH's Season 3 episode Abyssinia Henry is considered one of television's most impactful moments, where radar announces that Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake's plane was shot down over the Sea of Japan. There were no survivors, marking McLean Stevenson's exit from the show. Stevenson, who played Blake, brought warmth to the series, but felt his role diminishing as the focus shifted to Alan Alda's character. In a 1975 interview, he expressed his desire to be the lead, which ultimately led to his decision to leave after Season 3. The creators chose a serious narrative arc, showcasing the actual consequences of war, rather than a typical sitcom exit, resulting in the hauntingly silent and tragic final scene. This marked one of the first significant character deaths in television, with only a few cast members aware of the twist, which contributed to the genuine emotional impact of the episode. Audiences reacted strongly, and CBS received numerous letters praising and critiquing the decision. Writer Larry Gelbart defended the realism of the storyline. After MASH, Stevenson's career waned, as his follow-up series were not as successful. He later expressed regret about leaving MASH, realizing none of his new roles matched Blake's impact. Stevenson passed away in 1996, leaving behind a legacy that underscored the emotional depth of MASH and solidified his role as a defining moment in his career. Wayne Rogers. Wayne Rogers, who played Trapper John McIntyre on MASH, left the show abruptly after Season 3 without a farewell, unlike his co-star McLean Stevenson. Rogers had initially joined the cast believing the show would have equal ensemble representation, but as it progressed, the focus shifted largely to Alan Alda's Hawkeye. Despite their friendly rapport off-set, Rogers felt sidelined as Trapper's role diminished to that of a supporting character. Rogers chose not to renew his contract due to dissatisfaction with the direction of his character, surprising producers just before filming for Season 4 began. Lacking a formal agreement, he was free to walk away, leading to hasty rewrites that explained Trapper John's exit as a discharge while Hawkeye was on leave. This sudden departure left fans shocked, and without a farewell scene. In response, producers introduced Mike Farrell as B.J. Honeycutt, a character designed to be more grounded and emotionally complex. This shift changed the show's dynamic from a buddy comedy to a more introspective tone, arguably improving the series despite some fans' nostalgia for earlier seasons. After leaving MASH, Wayne transitioned to a successful career as a financial investor, leveraging his degree in history from Princeton. He became a panelist on Fox News' Cashin' In the 1990s, earning significant wealth through smart investments. Despite his exit from acting, he occasionally returned for TV films and reflected humorously on his time on the show. There appeared to be no lasting tension with the cast. Alan Alda noted, "Wayne is one of the smartest people I've ever worked with," emphasizing their lasting friendship. Upon Wayne's passing in 2015, Alda expressed his sorrow, stating, "He was smart, funny, curious, and dedicated." Wayne is still remembered fondly by fans for his charm as Trapper, even as discussions continue about actors who left the series due to the emotional challenges it presented. Gary Burghoff. Gary Burghoff, renowned for his role as Radar O'Reilly on MASH, left the series quietly due to personal and professional struggles. His portrayal of Radar was iconic, bringing a sense of vulnerability and innocence that contrasted with the character in the 1970 film, where Radar was more mischievous. Despite his success, Burghoff faced pressures from the demanding production schedule, coupled with battles against anxiety and depression. He also dealt with the emotional toll of being away from his family, especially his young daughter, which he later regretted. In a 2018 interview, co-star Mike Farrell noted Burghoff's feelings of underappreciation and contractual disputes over pay and screen time, though producers attempted to accommodate his needs. Ultimately, Burghoff chose to leave MASH after Season 8, leading to an emotional two-part farewell episode titled Goodbye Radar, which marked his character's poignant departure. After MASH, Burghoff took a break from acting, appearing briefly in a spin-off and focusing on painting, wildlife conservation, and inventing. He stated that his decision to step back was due to family priorities and burnout. Today, he lives a quieter life, occasionally attending conventions where fans recall his beloved character and its legacy. Larry Linville. Significant Frank Burns, played by Larry Linville, is a memorable character from the early seasons of MASH, known for his rigid and self-important nature. He served as a comic foil to Hawkeye and Trapper, but as the series matured, his one-dimensional villainy became increasingly evident. While other characters developed, Frank's insecurities and prejudices remained unchanged, which began to strain Linville, an actor capable of much more. By the end of Season 5, Linville chose not to renew his contract, feeling he had taken Frank as far as he could. His departure allowed the show to explore more nuanced moral conflicts and reliance on irony instead of slapstick humor. While Frank's exit marked a creative turning point for MASH, fans felt his absence, as he had been a crucial source of tension and comedy for 5 seasons. He was written off as receiving a promotion, but his lack of presence had a lasting impact on the show's dynamic. After MASH, Linville took on various guest roles, but never found a character as notable as Major Frank Burns. Additionally, another character was introduced to help fill the gap left by Frank's exit. David Ogden Stiers. Frank Burns and Charles Emerson Winchester III represent contrasting character types in MASH. Introduced in Season 6 and portrayed by David Ogden Stiers, Winchester distinguished himself with a cultured, intelligent, yet arrogant demeanor. Unlike Burns, who was a clear antagonist, Winchester was a complex character who challenged main characters like Hawkeye and BJ, influencing the show's tone. Initially perceived as pompous, Winchester revealed deeper layers over time, showcasing a man affected by the harsh realities of war. Stiers remained with the series until its end, delivering a memorable final scene in which Winchester teaches Chinese POWs to play Mozart, illustrating the character's depth. Stiers declined to join the spin-off after MASH, believing Winchester's storyline was complete. In 2009, he publicly came out as gay, expressing pride in his identity while explaining that concerns over typecasting had kept him private earlier in his career. Respected in the industry for his talent and professionalism, Stiers passed away in 2018 at the age of 75 from bladder cancer. His legacy endures through his performances and the courage he showed in living his truth. Additionally, the contributions of female characters in MASH, such as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, were vital to the show's development and tone. The women of MASH. In the war zone of MASH, where humor was a coping mechanism for the men, the women faced the challenge of gaining recognition. Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, portrayed by Loretta Sweet, initially appeared as a punchline, with her nickname derived from a comedic reference in the original film. However, Sweet transformed Margaret into a complex character filled with intelligence, strength, and vulnerability. Throughout the series, Margaret evolved from a strict figure often ridiculed to a respected leader and skilled head nurse who openly questioned the war's brutality. Sweet's commitment to portraying Margaret as a woman of substance significantly contributed to the depth of her character. Remarkably, while many male cast members left the show, Sweet remained for all 11 seasons, being one of only 4 actors to appear in both the pilot and the finale. In a show focused on the harsh realities of war, Margaret stood out as a pivotal character, ensuring that the only woman in the opening credits played a vital role in the narrative.